The last video I came out and I asked you guys to put yourselves in Ruben Amorim's shoes and tell me in the comments what you would do. I talked a little bit about what must be going through his head, and then you guys came at me in the comments, plenty of really good comments, and some of them really got me thinking, and those are the ones I want to bring up. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to Eddie WK9 something. You know what you did, man. Thank you very much. That was humbling for me. That was it was new. It was shocking. But cool. Thank you very much. You made my day actually. So let me go on to other comments. And Eddie, you left a comment that said Jonathan David. Does that mean you wanted Jonathan David, or you were just reminding me what his name was? I guess that's what you were doing, because I had a Canadian in my comments that said, as a Canadian, he was insulted that I forgot Jonathan David's name. Let me tell you something. I'm going to forget names all the time. I do it in my day-to-day life. I'm not good with names. I'm much better with faces. But from now on, when I forget a name, I'm not going to go, what's his name? What's his name? I'm probably just going to make up a name and run with it. And I'm going to run with a name, and you guys are going to have to figure out who the hell it is I'm talking about. Okay? So I don't sit there and go Tyler Dibbling, whatever his name is. I'm just going to go Tyler Dibbles, and you guys are going to have to figure it out. What else do I want to talk about? So the first comment that I want to bring up, or some of the comments that I want to bring up, is a lot of you guys were saying if you were in Ruben Amorim's shoes, the position you're most worried about is a DM, which is interesting to me, because to me, I thought striker is the obvious issue, but some of you guys think it's the DM, which I agree. I don't think that our defensive midfielder position is locked in solid, which brings me up to another topic. Like, it's funny because I'm getting these comments, but also at the same time, like 2 days ago, Ugarte is getting a lot of hate on social media from a lot of Manchester United fans telling him to leave the club after he posted something on Instagram or Twitter. I don't know where he posted it, but I saw it on X, where people were commenting, telling him leave my club, you're no good, stuff like that. Which, a lot of people were surprised about. There were a lot of social media personalities that came on and said, I don't get it. What's the Ugarte hate for? And here's the way I explain it, because I don't hate Ugarte. So I also want everybody to understand that I'm just trying to make sense out of it. I don't hate Ugarte. What I think happened is this is the typical problem with the way Manchester United leaks out stories and also does their business. We were led to believe we were getting Joao Neves, and a lot of us wanted Joao Neves. And then we got Ugarte. Same thing happens year after year. We were led to believe we're getting Kenda. And now we're probably getting Roger Fernandes. If Roger Fernandes does something that some of the fans aren't happy with, they're going to mistreat him probably, because they wanted Kenda, right? I don't know who we were led to believe we were going to get before we signed Xerxes, but you saw the mistreatment Xerxes got when he made some mistakes. Now, some of you are going to say, but Ugarte doesn't make mistakes. And that's not true. Ugarte has a hard time not passing the ball sideways and backwards and moving it forward. Now, some of you are going to say, because I've seen this on another person's channel, that that's his job. That's what Ruben wants him to do. He doesn't want him to, he's not trying to make him a progressive passer. Well, Yeoman is a really, really good progressive passer in Sporting. So I'm pretty sure if Ruben had his choice, he would want a defensive midfielder that can actually pass the ball too, not just run around, break up plays, and pass sideways and backwards. Now, with that said, do I think Ugarte is a valuable piece to the team that we need to build? Yes. I think Ugarte is definitely someone I want in our squad for the long term. I just don't know if he needs to be a starter if we had an upgrade. With that said, also, I had a lot of comments in the last video that some of you think that we need a new defensive midfielder. Nobody said, by the way, none of the comments in my video were negative towards Ugarte. Actually, none of them even brought up Ugarte. I don't think Ugarte was brought up at all, but there were a lot of comments that said we need a defensive midfielder like Ederson or Stiller or Manu Kone. There were names in my comments from different people. Nobody said anything negative about Ugarte. But it shows that there is that psyche that we're not happy with our midfield. We're not happy with what's going on in our midfield, and that we need something different. I'm also of that opinion. I'm the guy who a couple of years back was wanting to get rid of the McFred dynamic. I wanted Fred gone. I wanted McTominay gone. And to be honest with you, I wanted McTominay gone before I wanted Fred gone, but it worked out the other way around. But we went from replacing McTominay and Fred with Eriksen and Casemiro. So we replaced two guys who had legs, but not a lot of technical ability to two guys who have more technical ability but no legs. It's just a chaotic recruitment thing we've been going through, and hopefully that's going to be resolved this season. A lot of people say we had a good summer last summer. I'd say it was an okay summer. I wouldn't say it was a great summer by any means, but definitely a better one than we've had in the past. I would say probably in the past 3 or 4 years, better than that. But it was still not that great, especially because half the summer we were hearing stories about interviewing a bunch of different managers and then we didn't hire any other managers. So it was a little bit of a chaotic summer. I'm hoping this summer is a lot more organized. We've got all our ducks in a row and we're going in and we're getting who we want. But here's the deal. It's starting to happen again. Whereas, like, you hear stories about Kenda and then he's gone, and now we're talking about Roger Fernandes. We're hearing stories about Osimhen or Gyökeres. They're not. I don't think they're going to happen. Maybe Osimhen has a chance of happening if we're willing to part with one of our younger talents and send them to Napoli, whether that's Garnacho or Rasmus Højlund. I don't know if we're ready to part with Rasmus Højlund, to be honest with you, because I think that a lot of the higher ups at our club think that they see something in Rasmus, and I understand it because I see it too. I just don't think he's good at the hold up play, and maybe that can be taught because he does have the body for it. So maybe that can be taught. It's actually, I would think, easier to teach that than it is to teach technical skills. It's easier to teach someone how to use their body, get it in the way, bang into bodies, and stay on their feet, than it is to teach them how to make technical dribbles and get past people on the carry. So maybe we will keep Rasmus, maybe we will not. By the way, if I'm saying anything that doesn't make sense, leave it in the comments. Correct me, man. I love reading the comments. So let's move on from that, because another thing I saw in my comments is that some of you guys think that we should be getting rid of Mainu and Garnacho, which is impressive to me, to be honest with you, because it hit me by surprise. Not impressive because I think it's a great idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know where I stand on this. And if you guys been watching this channel for a while now, you know that I've gone back and forth, back and forth. It's a struggle for me, and I'm sure it's a struggle for Ruben. I'm sure it's a struggle for Jason Wilcox and anybody else who has to make this kind of decision. Because in one hand, you go, do they actually fit the system? And then you see Garnacho actually trying to fit the system, and you go, well, he's kind of talented, and he is trying to fit on the right-hand side. And on the other hand, you go, but I could probably cash out now and just spend the money on get a guy who doesn't have to try to fit the system, who already fits the system. It's a hard decision to make. And I think it should come down to maybe the kind of offers you get. Maybe you listen to offers, you look at what are people willing to offer, and if anybody's willing to pay a little bit over the odds, if anyone's willing to part with 70 million euros for one of them, then maybe you consider it. If the best offer you're getting is 50 million, then maybe you don't consider it. I don't know, because I don't know the full financial story too. If 50 million is what we need to get for a academy product so that we can go on a spending spree and have no FFP issues, then you might have to consider the 50 million too. I don't know. We're going to have to sit and find out. But that brings me to my main topic of today's episode. Today's episode is supposed to be about something I've been thinking about since my last video, and that is academy business, if you will. I think that we have this romantic idea that we are supposed to nurture academy products into stars that come and play for us. I think that is true, and that should be our goal, but there's a different goal also for the academy, and some way that we're not using it. I think let me use examples because it'll be easier for me. Harry Amos, and I think his name is Harry, I'm not sure, but Harry Amos is a left back or left wing back, whatever you want to call him. Who plays for us in the academy, who some of us want to see play and get minutes in the team. Do I think he's going to get minutes in the team? Not really, not much. And one of my comments asked me to say what do I think about Diogo Leon from Paraguay. From what I've seen so far, I love that signing. I think Diogo Leon will come in, and within 6 months of living in England, training in England, getting used to kind of the physicality in England, which, by the way, he comes from Paraguay where they are not soft. So I'm sure he's used to bodies banging and getting into it. I think he's going to work out and be better than Harry Amos. But with that said, And I love the fact that we have Diego Leon backing up at Dorgu, because I've given up hope on depending on Luke Shaw. Some of you guys might like Luke Shaw, and some of you guys might hate me for saying that, and that's fine. I don't think Luke Shaw is a bad player. I just gave up hope on pretending he's ever going to be fit enough to play a whole season, or numerous seasons for that matter. I think we're just waiting. He's like Phil Jones to me, but a little bit plays a couple more games a season than Phil Jones ever did. But if you remember Phil Jones, he was always injured, just sitting on the bench collecting a paycheck. We waited for his contract to run out and let him go. I think it's the same thing with Luke Shaw. I think as soon as his contract runs out, we'll just let him go. We will never be able to sell him, and we're not going to renew his contract. There's no way. He's making good money. I don't feel too bad for him. I do feel bad that he got injured. Of course I do, but he's making good money. His life is well taken care of. He's been prepared for years going through this injury, knowing that he might not play football for a long time. I'm sure he's got money managers and investments, and he'll be fine. So I don't feel too bad at least I hope he'll be fine. I don't feel too bad for him. But the point is this: I want Diego Leon to be backing up Dorgu, and that's our left side secure for a while. Now, on the right side, I don't feel that way. On the right side, I think we're going to bring in a Roger Fernandes because, number one, the price is right. From what we've been reading lately, that they're willing to take less than 30 million or up to 30 million for him. And I think that's in euros. So it's probably like 24 million pounds, something like that is going to get him, and maybe even a little less with add-ons. So we might get a Roger Fernandes for 20 million pounds, and that's probably a pretty good addition. And I got sidetracked here, but I was trying to talk about the academy, so let me get back to that. So what I think we're not doing with the academy correctly is these players that we might not think have what it takes to make it in the Manchester United squad, like a Harry Amos. We're not giving them really small contracts to play for the first team. Whether we need to or not, I'm not sure. But really small contracts, because they'll take it because they're on peanuts right now. And then play them in cup games and things of that nature just to kind of put them on the showroom floor for other teams to see. And they might be good enough to go play for the Evertons of the world and, the bottom half teams of the world. And one of them would come in and pay us 15, 20 million to get him because the guy has, a really good education in the Manchester United Academy. But if we don't showcase them in some way, shape, or form, no one's going to bid for them because no one's going to know whether they're worth 10 million or 15 million or 20 million. And that's what I think we don't do enough of. We don't need to just play academy players that we think are good enough to play on our team. We need to find those games, those cup games, those minutes where we can put in these academy players that we know are good enough to play in a mid-table or low-table team in a Premier League in Spain or whatever, and give them minutes so they're on the showroom floor so that their managers, their agents can shop them around. Or else we just lose them on peanuts, which is what we did with Angel Gomez, with Chong, Zidane Iqbal. Even though some of you might say we did give Zidane Iqbal minutes. Not enough. Not enough. If we give these players more minutes more regularly, not a lot of minutes, but more regularly, coming on, showing what they have, we probably could have sold Zidane Iqbal for a lot more. That's where I think we drop the ball and we do bad business. So I'm hoping these Ineos guys, these Jason Wilcox, Ruben Amorim, they sit down and strategize better because next summer, not this summer, next summer, I'd like to think that we can sell some academy products that we know aren't good enough for our squad for a decent amount of profit, not just 2 million, not just 3 million, but like 10, 12, 15, 17, 20, something like that. What do you guys think? Hit me up in the comments. Am I on the right track here? Because I really think that that's a part of our business strategy that we're missing. And that's a part that can help Ineos raise some funds. Because as we know, that's kind of their main priority right now is that we're going to be the most profitable club in the world in 3 seasons. Good luck. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I do think they're determined to do that sort of thing, and I do think they're probably got a lot of experience making companies profitable, so they're probably going to be successful. We're just going to sit back and watch and see how they do it, and hopefully it won't be to the detriment of the team, because we also know that to compete in a big boy league, we need to be spending big boy wages. Now, right now, we spend a lot of big boy wages for sure, but on players that we don't even use, like Luke Shaw. We don't use Luke Shaw, and he's on big boy wages, like Mason Mount, like Rashford, Anthony. I mean, the list goes on and on. All our big boy wages go to players that we don't even use. Jadon Sancho, But that doesn't mean what Ineos wants to do should be like a cutting of big boy wages, if you know what I mean. We still have to pay those big wages. We just have to pay them for players who are actually useful to us. Before I go on, I want to remind everybody here, I am doing a watch along on Tuesday. So that's in a couple of days from now. I am doing a watch along. I'm still trying to figure out how to make that work. Let's see if I can show you guys what I've been working on. Something like that, like a score. Oh, my score prediction's up. There you go. That's my score prediction for Tuesday's game. And I'm working on something like that with a little timer in the middle and stuff. I really have no idea what I'm doing. So I have to watch like YouTube videos for 2 hours. That's the only reason why I didn't make this video yesterday instead of today is because I was working on this and it took me a lot longer than I thought. Anyways, so there's a sneak peek. I want to get the chat up too. I'm working on that tonight after I'm done posting this video. I'm going to work on trying to get the chat up on the side. So when you guys are at the watch along and chatting, everybody can see your chats on the main screen so you don't have to look at the chat. And honestly, I'm doing it for selfish reasons because I want to be able to see the chat and watch the game without having to look at a bunch of screens. But anyway, watch along Tuesday. Come hang out. Let's have fun. I don't know what I'm doing. So you guys are going to have to teach me how to make this work. And hopefully we can do a couple more of those. I'm going to do 2 watch-alongs in May because I was looking at the schedules, trying to see how I can work it with my work schedule. So I can only do 2 more watch-alongs in May, and that's about it. So it'll only be 3 watch-alongs for this season, maybe more next season. So try not to miss this one because I'm only doing 3 of them this year, and this one is the first one. So there's probably going to be a lot of bloopers. I'm probably not going to remember when and not curse because I'm live, and I will try. I will try my best because I know some of you guys are watching these things with your kids next to you. I will try not to curse. But man, when I'm watching a game live, like I can't promise that. I will try. All right, back to our topic here. So we need to find ways to raise money. Barca, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, they do a great job of selling academy players, but they give those players minutes. We all know who those players are by the time they're sold because we've seen them play minutes. And even though they're not the greatest Real Madrid academy product, they get enough minutes to get showcased so that they can move on for a lot more money than we usually sell players for. And that's really what I'm getting at. If you think about Bayern Munich's academy players, Barca's academy players, and Real Madrid's, the ones that don't make it in the first team, they still get minutes and then they get moved on for decent money. Not all of them, but a lot of them. A lot of them. And that's what we need to start doing. The other story that came out is that because I was talking about the right side with Delo a second ago, because I was talking about how Dorgu, Pedro Leon, I kind of like Diego Leon, Dorgu, I kind of like the left side and how that's shaping up. The right side, we're hearing that we're trying to sign one of our academy products, Montanto. And this leads into what I just said. I don't know his name, man. I'm going to say Matato, okay? Montato, whatever. Matato is shaping up to be one of our academy products that we promote to the first team. He's probably going to get some minutes this season. And here's what I mean. Exactly what I just said. If he works out and he's awesome and he's good, he doesn't make too many errors, and he looks like somebody who can play for a Champions League challenging team, for a top 4 challenging team, then you keep him. And he's a somebody in your squad for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. But if he turns out to be good but not great, he should get some minutes so that we can move him on. You still get that Roger Fernandes. You get Roger Fernandes, you get Matato, and you have them battle it out to see who's going to get the starting position. And then obviously Delo's in there. And but I don't know, man. Maybe if you get Roger Fernandes and you got Matato, you can afford to sell Diogo Delo. And if you can afford to sell Diogo Delo and that brings in enough money to where you don't need to sell a Kobe or Garnacho, maybe that's what you do. I'm really curious how this summer is going to work out. It's going to be a very interesting summer. That doesn't mean it's going to be a good summer. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad summer. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, though. And the stories that we're going to hear this summer is going to drive some of us crazy some days, and it's going to make us really happy some days, and then those happy news things might not even happen. What I mean by that is one day you're going to hear that Kobe Mainu is for sale, and this team's interested. And then the next day you're going to hear that we're going for Gyökeres, or we're going for Osimhen, and it's very close. And then a week later, Kobe Mainu is not for sale, and we didn't get Osimhen either, and they're not related or tied. I'm just saying the news is going to be up and down, up and down. I really think it's going to be pretty insane this summer, and I'm looking forward to it because our games haven't been all that great. So I guess the only drama and excitement there is now is waiting for the summer transfer window to go through the, I don't know how to describe it, the adventure that this summer transfer window is going to be. Guys, leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think of what we're saying today. Let me know if you think we should be using the academy to generate more funds by giving some players minutes that maybe aren't good enough to make it in the long run. And if you're one of those guys that's like, oh, I think Harry Amos can make it, he's so good. Well, obviously the coaches don't, because he would have got more minutes by now. I know he was a little bit injured. I know they wanted to send him out on loan, but that's another sign. They wanted to send him out on loan when you have Luke Shaw, who's always injured, when you have Terrell Malacia, who was never going to play for us this season, and you still wanted to send Harry Amos out on loan originally before he got injured. So that's a sign that the coaches aren't sure that he's maybe good enough to play for us. I don't know. Leave it in the comments. Thank you very much for being with me. I know it's a short video. I actually have another topic I want to talk about. I'm going to save that for the next video. I'm going to see you on the watch along on Tuesday. Thank you very much. Eddie, thanks again. The guys who commented, one guy, when I said, put yourself in Ruben Amorim's shoes, what would you do? His comment just simply said, I would leave the club. That's not fun for me to read, but I understand why you said that. It's crazy. All right, guys. I will see you in the next video. Or watch along Tuesday. Thanks. Like and subscribe if you're new. Bye.